This is written by a 17-year-old niece of the email correspondent who sent this to me yesterday, day before. She wrote this for her English project. Her feelings after visiting a military cemetery with her choir on a trip to Europe this year. And it's most appropriate. I did it yesterday, and I thought some of you may not have heard it. 17-year-old. As I walked through the Iron Gate into the Netherlands American Cemetery, I watched as my friends' constant chatter and carefree giggling changed to silence and solemn stares. I felt a change occur in me also. As I stepped closer, my breath was taken away by the sight of thousands of white crosses spread over acres of green lawn. These crosses extended in every direction as far as I could see. It was so hard to believe that each cross represented a soldier's life. As our director blew his pitch pipe, we assembled in order in front of the cemetery chapel. And together we sang the most beautiful melody known to our country, the Star-Spangled Banner. We sang proudly for our soldiers who had bravely fought and died in World War II. It was such an honor to sing this tribute to these brave men and women who died so far from home. Although our select advanced choir traveled throughout Europe, this was one of our finest moments. There were a few people watching, not a large audience. And as we sang, I watched tears gently roll down many cheeks, including my own. There was not a dry eye in the cemetery. There were some Americans who were at the cemetery that day to visit a loved one's grave. One man in particular had traveled across the globe to visit his brother's gravesite. We watched as tears streamed down his face. And as we turned to walk back to our coach, the man shouted, "Thank you. I will remember this for the rest of the days of my life." I will also remember the same moment forever. With the great American flag swaying overhead, I realized how precious life is and how much I've taken for granted. After seeing over 8,000 white crosses at this cemetery, I appreciated that both my grandfathers had returned home safely from World War II. Throughout my European trip, I had many wonderful experiences, such as living with host families, performing in towering cathedrals, and sightseeing from the Rhine River to the North Sea. However, nothing had a greater impact on me than this visit to the military cemetery. I had never thought much about patriotism before, but that afternoon I experienced a pride in myself, my fellow choir members, my country, and the men and women who fought for our freedom. I will always remember this experience whenever I hear our national anthem. That's a 17-year-old who's representative of more 17-year-olds than some of the complainers and whiners who talk about this generation of children being wasted. They're not. And God bless a 17-year-old who connected with what life is all about in America.